So it ain't no secret, you saw the title of my video, and today we're gonna talk about the downfall of Drizzy Drake. Let's get into it. Drake has been running the game since 2009. Ever since So Far Gone, Drake's career trajectory has done nothing but ascend, 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 and ascend higher and higher. I'm talking about whatever he touched, whatever he wrote for, whoever he gave a guest verse to, it was going platinum. I mean, think about how many artists that never really amounted to nothing but got a Drake verse and they can probably live good right now. I mean, you won't even have to go get a part-time job or anything, just live off the residuals. Drake has definitely done a number on the industry for the last couple of years, for good or bad. So first I want to talk about the battle, all right? We all know how it turned out. I've made plenty videos about it. You can go check them out. Now I like push-ups. Push-up was cool. Push-up was like a warning shot, you know, it was cool. But I will say, as time went on, I've grown to appreciate Family Ties. Now, a lot of the stuff he said in Family Ties did not age well. Like, you know who really banged the set? My nigga YG, like, but YG on stage with Kendrick, like, performing. So it's like, yeah, that line really did not age well at all. Also, accusing Dave Free of having a secret child with his baby mom, like, nah, Drake, it's not gonna work. But I like the beat. I like the beat switch. I actually like the last part of Family Ties where it switches when he says Kendrick just opened his mouth, somebody hand him a Grammy right now. That was a witty line. I like that. But like I said, he just was not ready for what was about to happen to him. So let's rewind. Let's take it all the way back to 2009, a simpler time when we had blogs and MySpace was still popping. That's right, MySpace. I'm showing my age. Oh God. So the first time I heard of Drake was from his very first mixtape, Room for Improvement. Now this was some early Drake. I'm talking about he was really trying to find his footing in the industry. He had a song with Trey Songz called Replacement Girl that used to play on 106 in Park as like the next artist up. And I remember seeing that song on the countdown being like, didn't really have no swag in the video. Like as you can see from the purple and the hat with the, yeah. No swag at all. I rock with the video though. He also had some witty verses around the time, so I was like, might need to keep an eye on him. The next tape that he went on to drop after that was Comeback Season. Now Comeback Season is when I was like, okay, this kid Drake might be on to something. On this tape, his style was fleshed out a little bit more. It was a little bit better, his execution. He also was rapping on Jay Dilla beats. I mean, he had Little Brother, Fonte, Nicholas F. He had all these features, Cardinal Official. He had all of these features on his tape. And honestly, it's probably one of my favorites from his earlier collection of music. You can tell that he had a respect for hip hop. You could tell that he kind of wanted to be accepted by that hip hop crowd just based off the features he had, the beats he was rapping off of, and which made me believe that he wasn't just a kid coming in trying to leech off the culture. No, he actually knows what he's doing. And let's just keep it real, he can simply rap. Now this is around the time where the game is switching. See, in the music industry around that time, things were more gangster. But see, when Kanye West dropped that album 808s and Heartbreak, pretty sure you know that album, right? Yeah, we all know. One of the greatest albums of all time. When Kanye dropped 808s and Heartbreak, the influence from 808s and Heartbreaks would go on to influence what we all know and love as a classic, So Far Gone. First of all, I was just getting out of a serious relationship, right? So Far Gone hit at the right time. It was a mix of rap. It was a mix of R&B. It was the first time we were getting a look at a vulnerable rapper. I mean, yes, we had Kanye with 808s and Heartbreak, but there was a new artist that was treading his own path. And it was almost like he made it cool to be vulnerable at a time where hip hop is all bravado. Everything just came together right for that So Far Gone mixtape. I always look at hip hop like this. You have 808s and Heartbreak, then you have So Far Gone. And everything after So Far Gone, the industry was trying to mimic Drake because he was the guy. Now after this, Drake's rise to stardom immediately started. He was writing songs for Alicia Keys. He had a song with Timberland. He was working with The Dream. Of course, his debut album, Thank Me Later, which would go on to be plaques on plaques. Think about it, from 2009 all the way up to where I would say probably CLB. It's not his strongest project. So let's just say 2009 to 2019, Drake pretty much had the game in the chokehold. Whatever he said went. Whatever he dropped went platinum, 1 billion streams. It doesn't matter. He had a game in the chokehold and everybody was trying to sound like him and or get a feature from him. Now around this time, Drake ran into his first big beef. I'm pretty sure y'all remember the Drake versus Meek Mill beef. And the way that Drake handled this Meek Mill beef is vastly different from how he handled the Kendrick beef, and I'll explain that later in the video. But for now, let's talk about him versus Meek Mill. Now, I don't think it's any secret Drake won that Meek Mill beef. The way he came at Meek Mill was like a knockdown punch, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the angle that Drake took when he was going against Meek Mill was, hey look, I'm not a tough guy. Like, I'm a singing Canadian dude, like, and you're getting bodied by me. I mean, think about it. He was saying stuff like, you on a world tour, it's your girls tour, the memes, not to mention that Drake can just simply rap his ass off. Meek Mill really didn't stand a chance because I don't think he was expecting Drake to come with a song like Back to Back or Charged Up. He's not the gangster that Meek Mill portrays. He doesn't come from that area that Meek Mill comes from. So I think that's why it looked so bad when Drake was out rapping him, because people were like, Meek, you supposed to be like the freestyle dude. Like, we know you can rap, Meek. But Drake just had his foot on his neck. Now from there, of course, that would go on to inflate Drake's ego. And, you know, being the biggest rapper in the game at the time, nobody could really touch him. But oh boy, there was this kid from Compton laying in the cut, just watching everything play out. So over the years, Kendrick and Drake have taken shots at each other on various tracks. Now I couldn't tell you line for line, song for song exactly which, because there's so many of them, but I'll just give you an example. You remember when he did that song with The Game called 100? He actually came to Compton to shoot that video. Now of course, you know how it is in Compton. You can't just pull up and shoot a video in Compton. You got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. You know what I'm saying? And in that song, he said a line almost to the effect of, I would have had your fans if I would have stayed conscious and didn't go on some pop shit, which was a jab at Kendrick because most people would associate Kendrick with being a conscious rapper. So there were shots being thrown for years between Kendrick and Drake. In the song King Kunta with Kendrick, I'm pretty sure y'all remember the line, a rapper with a ghostwriter. What the fuck happened? Exactly. Now, of course, like I was saying, over time, Drake's ego would go on to get bigger and bigger. And honestly, I just think that Drake put a little too much dip on his chip when he was going to get Kendrick. See, you cannot go against Kendrick because Kendrick is a man of the culture. Kendrick is from it. Drake and Kendrick grew up vastly different. But in America, the way that Kendrick grew up was the way that a lot of young black men grew up. So over the years, Kendrick continues to grow as an artist, get bigger and bigger. And Drake, of course, he continues to grow as an artist, get bigger and bigger. And Drake goes from this vulnerable, hey look, I'm this nice, sweet guy, I won't hurt you, I won't hurt a fly, I promise, I can just rap and I'm not threatening at all, to some songs, man, Drake be talking about sending them hitters at you. Big Slime, King Slime. But Drake definitely, over time, kind of adopted this mafioso, mob ties, you know, boss-like figure. And I always felt like Kendrick looked at that as, bro, I don't believe you. So fast forward 2024. And around this time, you have a Kendrick Lamar who I want to say is out of his deal. He's completely independent. And if we talking money for money, I'm pretty sure they could go money for money. So when Kendrick and Drake start trading these jabs, it's not a situation where Drake can be like, well, I got more money than you. I got more fans than you. I got more influence than you. They're like right here with each other. So the timing for them to go at each other was perfect. Nobody can say, hey, I got more of this than you. At this time, it's all about bars. And this was the perfect time. The storm has been brewing for years. And this is what happened. So I talked about earlier in the video how Drake dropped Push-Ups, he dropped Family Ties, and it just wasn't enough. Kendrick proceeded to then drop songs like Euphoria, which I believe is better than Not Like Us, just on some just jabs wise, like he's hitting him every line in that song. Then he drops Meet the Grams. Then he dropped 616 in LA. And then he drops the mega bomb on him, which is Not Like Us. I'm gonna be honest, Not Like Us wasn't even needed, I don't even think. But I felt like Kendrick had at least 3 to 4 tracks ready to go for Drake. And that's one thing as an MC you do not do. You do not challenge a rapper to a rap battle when he is in album mode. You don't do that. See, Drake, he was in vacation mode. He was ready to go on vacation. He said it in the song. He was like, yeah, I'm about to go on vacation, whoop, whoop. Kendrick is in album mode. He ready to rap. And in hip hop, it's no such thing as taking a vacation when you're called out to battle. You know, I think Drake had way too much dip on his chip when he tried to question Kendrick's ties to his community. You know, saying, hey man, you don't go back to your hood and plant no money trees. You know, you don't do this, you don't do that. When it's clear to see that Kendrick really do be in his hood doing things, helping people. Like for instance, I think Kendrick can go back to Compton and feel comfortable, whereas if Drake is in Toronto, he probably has to have a lot of security because not a lot of people in Toronto really rock with Drake like that. So what we got and what we saw was Kendrick give Drake an ego death. That's right. This moment right here is what I would consider an ego death. The Drake of the past, the Drake that we know, the Drake that we've known since 2009 and onward, he doesn't exist anymore. That guy has been annihilated by what Kendrick Lamar has done. You can't tell me a man does not have an ego death when he watches a concert of people around the world dance and celebrate to a song dissing you. We've never seen nothing like it in hip hop. There will never be nothing like this in hip hop, I don't think, because what bigger artist at what time went like this? Yes, Jay-Z and Nas had their moment, but it wasn't as big as this. He performed Not Like Us 6 times, and you think he performed it 6 times on a flute? No, of course he performed it because Drake considers himself the 6th god. He's from the 6, which I don't know how they started calling Toronto the 6. I'm from Atlanta. East Atlanta is the 6, so I don't know, maybe it's like a thing or something. I don't know, maybe somebody can explain it to me in the comments. But this moment right here was necessary for Drake. It's only so long that a king can rule before his spot is challenged. It's only so long that two MCs that are at the top of their game can coexist before somebody steps on somebody's foot, because there's just no room for 2 at the top. It's only 1. Now this is necessary for Drake. Drake now has to look in the mirror to see exactly how will I respond to this? How will I come back from this? What am I going to talk about after this? I'm going to be honest. If I was Drake, I would take 2 to 3 years off. I wouldn't drop no music. I wouldn't drop no features. I'm just going to take 2 to 3 years off. Now, of course, I'll still go out. I'll still be in public. I'll still, you know, people will still see me like, hey, how you doing? Whoop, whoop, whoop. But I won't drop any music. If I'm Drake, I'm taking 2 to 3 years off, and I'm coming back a completely different version of what y'all saw. Maybe it's time for Drake to take a break. I mean, if you've been running the game for 10 years, you've been influencing everything that's been coming out for the last 10 years, dog, maybe it's time for him to take a break and really just reinvent his sound, come back with something new. Come back the same way how he came in the game with So Far Gone. Reintroduce yourself. And while Drake takes this 2 to 3 year hiatus, I think it makes it better for the music industry, because in that time, you can let a newer artist come in, emerge, make a new sound, do his thing. Because like I said, for the last 10, Drake has had his foot in everything that's been going on. So in his absence, a lot of younger artists, a lot of newer artists can emerge, and they won't necessarily be chasing that Drake sound, and there can be balance in hip hop. Almost like the Avengers Infinity War type shit. You know what I'm saying? And let's say after that 2 to 3 years, we haven't heard any music from Drake, anything, I would announce my return with the new record and a new album. I mean, keep it real, bro. If Drake take 2 to 3 years off and he decides to come back with a brand new album, bro, the anticipation of what he's gonna say, what he's gonna talk about, it's gonna be palpable. The album might sell 1 billion before it's even released, because like I said, we have grown very comfortable with seeing Drake. We've seen him every year, almost like Jay-Z was in the 90s. Jay-Z was with you every summer. He was giving you heat every summer. Then when he decided to take a break, you know, it was kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Jay ran the game back then. Maybe a lot of y'all too young to really understand that, but go do your research. Jay was killing it every summer. You know what I'm saying? And Drake, in his defense, was killing it every summer too. So yeah, I think after a 2-year hiatus, Drake should come back with something and reintroduce himself to the world and completely reinvent his sound and reinvent who he is as an artist. So yes, just like the title of the video says, the Drizzy Drake that you know, the Drizzy Drake that I know, the Drake that the world knows is no longer. But maybe in this next iteration of Drake, we'll actually get to know the man, not the bravado, and more about who he is as a person, breaking down his more personal life and just getting more introspective. Maybe he can go back to comeback season Drake, because honestly, that's one of my favorite iterations of Drake, how he was rapping on comeback season. It was excellent. And then to go from that to So Far Gone, chef's kiss, man. You can't deny it. So yeah, that is my video, ladies and gentlemen. The downfall of Drizzy Drake. I hope you enjoyed it. I got way more videos coming just like this in the future. And as always, make sure y'all stay carefree. Y'all be safe. And I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace.